Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to do this. This is doing some circle collisions. So basically what I'm doing is I'm checking to see if the green circle and the blue circle are overlapping, and then I'm changing the color of my one circle to be, instead of green, to red. So there's no like special command. Well, there's like one special command that's going to help us with this a little bit, but there's really no like overlap command, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. We need to figure out like how can we code this. And you'll notice really like what's happening here. Circles are actually the easiest one to check for overlapping because we just need to see like are the two circles kind of starting to cover each other, and we can use their radius, their radii, to figure out when they're overlapping. So let's get into the code here a little bit. I guess I should talk a little bit more. Really what we're going to do is we're going to take the center of the two circles. We're going to see how far apart the centers are, and then we're going to compare that to the radius of each circle. If the distance from one center to the other is less than the sum of the two radii, then we know that the two circles are overlapping, right? You can see here like the center of the two circles is going to be smaller than the radius. We know that they're overlapping. So that's what makes this somewhat of an easier bit of code to write. So let's get into the actual code of it, and we'll move right along. Okay, so in our code, actually, let's start up top here. We're going to start with we have two circles. There's circle 1 that's given with these values, just whatever, x value, y value, radius, chose whatever. For the circle size, for the second circle, I only declared its size. I said the size is 50. I'm going to have the circle x and y be based on the mouse, just the way that I'm going to do it, although you could do it in a lot of different ways. You could have some variables in here that are maybe getting moved by the keyboard or something else, but just the way I chose to do it, we're going to have the circle size up here. I also made some variables for RGB, although actually I think I don't need these in the way that I ended up doing it. So we'll start out with these just basic circle values. Starting in our draw is we are going to use just a background, and before I draw one circle, I'm going to set my fill to be RGB, so I'm going to set it to be blue. Okay, and then I'm going to draw my first circle, and that's going to be the kind of non-moving circle. For my other circle, I'm going to say circle mouse X. This is the one that's going to follow my mouse, mouse Y, and then I can do circle 2 size. Okay. Now what I need to do, just what I was talking about, I need to figure out kind of what is the distance from between the two centers of the circles, and if that's less than, let's figure out kind of like, let's make a variable called, that's fine, I can just do it in here. We're going to say if. There's a key function that we can use in our processing to figure out the distance between 2 points. We can use some Pythagorean theorem, we could calculate it ourselves, but there's also a tool called dist in processing that lets us find the distance between 2 points because it's such a common thing that we might need to find. So we can say circle 1x, circle 1y. And then we could also say, for our mouse, we could say mouse x, mouse y. Let's actually, before we go too much further, let's just print that out. We'll run that for a quick second, and we'll see kind of what's coming out, and then we can go further from that. So we're just going to run this. It's going to pop up my game here. You can see it's spamming out a bunch of different points. As we get closer, the value should be getting less, although it's a little bit hard to read. Let me try this again one more time here. Let's say this can be a print. Let's do print ln in here. I'll finish up here in just a second. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we can see all these values. And we see as we get closer, all right, we're seeing that distance get really down close into the number of pixels. Okay, so that's gonna find our distance. All right, let's go back into our code. So what we need to do is we need to check to see if that distance is less than the distance, the sum of the radii of the two circles. We can find that. We can find circle 1 size. Let's say it's divided by 2. Because the circle 1 size is going to be the width and the height, so it's going to be like basically the diameter. So we're going to see if that value is less than circle 2 size divided by 2. And so really that's the key, checking to see this is our overlap. If this is true, then it means that they are overlapping. The size of the circles, distance between the two circles is less than the radius. So we can say here, fill, we can say that's going to be our kind of red looking thing to make it look like something's changing. We can say 255 RGB, so we're going to say 0, 255, 0 in here. If we run our code, there we go. So now we have two things. One, we have two different fills for two different colors for our circles because one's getting filled with this and the other one's getting filled with that. So we have two different circles, and when we run our code, as soon as they start to overlap, we're going to see them switch colors. So that's overlapping with circles. and hopefully I can help you with whatever you're making.